document this, proof that this happened.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. This is my first time in the US and couldn't have asked for a better screening than Stony Brook Film Festival. Thank you, Stoller Center for the Arts, Kent, Alan, Paul, all the wonderful volunteers, everyone, and the lovely audience. It's very daunting and overwhelming to be here, standing here at this stage and seeing our work on this huge screen with you all. It certainly made me go through a lot of emotions, just the way when I started making the film, putting together the film. I'm missing my team here. Aurithro is here actually, who is like a younger brother to me, and he helped in a lot of logistics in certain aspect of the production. He lives in the US, but he helped, thanks to the virtual world, he was like incredibly helpful. So thank you and pleasure.
So you guys know how this works. You ask the question, I'll repeat the question, Tathagata will answer the question. Do we have any questions? Yes, right here. So he's asking about the fact that the characters would go back and forth between English and their native language. Was there a particular reason for that?
Actually, thanks for that question. That's how in Bengal especially, it's actually a mixed bag of language. I mean, though my mother tongue is Bengali, and that's the language we speak, Bangla, but people also use English words and phrases very often. That's very common. Like we speak Bengali and then we burst into English, couple of lines, then Bengali. So because also the fact that Calcutta, where I come from, or Kolkata now, is a mixed bag of, a melting pot of different culture. Many people come to work there from different parts of the country. And that's why we kind of, Hindi, English, Bengali are the three languages, most spoken languages there. So that's the reason why some of the characters are also saying the way they ideally, characters like them speak in that way. So that's basically the reason, yeah.
Good question. Another question? And step over here where I can see better. Yes, right back there.
Would this topic have been controversial in Bengal?
Is this topic controversial?
Definitely it has not been easy in recent years to make films, and to make films especially that question or that addresses issues that are taboo. When we question certain aspects of the establishment or order, political order, definitely there are people, there are poets, filmmakers who have gotten into trouble because of that, and so we have to find ways to kind of say what we want to and still make our point across. So, there definitely, displacement of the minorities, which I kind of touch upon little, is definitely an issue which has been controversial, or which has been discussed among the people there for a long time, for a while now actually. Definitely it has been controversial, and I really doubt that there might be places where this film might not play actually. Definitely there are issues which are controversial that way. And also, since we speak about, this is actually a conservative Bengali household, middle class Bengali household, and queer love is still not discussed, openly. So definitely it's kind of, aspects of different socio-political issues that found its way into the film. So, yeah.
Right, one of the characters even said something about since the election. It's been, one of them says since the election it's more difficult or something like that. Can you address that?
Yeah. Actually recently we just finished our elections, our national elections. Um, and it has been increasingly difficult for, as I said, for the minorities, be it from a religion standpoint or from caste standpoint. It has been difficult for them actually to find places. Like I know people, I have had friends who have been asked to evict their apartments in certain places in the country because they come from a certain religion or caste. And it's a question you are commonly asked, like when you are actually you're looking for apartments to rent. The two most common questions are what is like your caste and what is your religion, and whether you eat certain kind of food. So sadly, this is the situation is, and here actually our character is kind of facing also similar instances. So with every passing day, things are becoming harder. Things are looking a little, not in the right shape, but hopefully we'll overcome this. I believe that, I believe in hope and love, and hopefully we'll overcome this. So.
Any question right here? So the question is, why did you choose to focus on this for the film?
Actually, the incidents that you see in the film are kind of taken from real life, a lot of them. This has happened to friends of mine, to people I know, very recently, homosexuality was, before that, homosexuality was considered a crime in our Indian society. And it has been very recent few years that Section 377, which criminalized that, was done away with. So, but still, it's very difficult for people to, own their identities, irrespective of caste, class, gender, whatever it is. I have had during lockdown also. I know friends who have called me up I came out to my family, but now they are not accepting me. Where do I go? So cases of self-harm or a lot of mental health issues were very common. So it's very difficult actually to own your identity and still live in Indian society. So I think these are incidents which really affected me on a very deeply personal level, and it all came together. Different anecdotes I heard from friends or things I've experienced myself, and that's how the entire film was put together. So yeah.
Let's take a question from the back. Sure, go ahead. Right back there. Yeah. I'm sorry, the person who's standing is talking. Yeah, you're standing.
How are LGBTQ stories received by the general audience in West Bengal at this moment?
Can you repeat it one more time, just a little louder?
How are LGBTQ stories received by the general audience in West Bengal at this moment?
How are LGBTQ stories generally received by the audience in West Bengal?
Actually, thanks for that question. Over the years, Kolkata, where I come from, was the first city in India which had a pride walk. My city had the first pride walk in India. So, and there has been, there are organizations working there. I can name Sappho right away, who have built queer-friendly cafes there. I also want to, mention a name of one actor I worked with. She's no more with us, Tomogno, whom I worked with on a previous film. It was also a queer film I made. And recently, she was found dead in her apartment. And then the reason being, she was dealing with a lot of rejections and a lot of obstacles because of coming out to her parents or being who she is. So while there is like a progressive step taken by different organizations to sensitize people, there are also very not so broad-minded people who live in little suburb play parts of Bengal. So still have a long way to go in that aspect. So I think it's kind of still the boat is rocky, I can say. We are trying our best to sensitize people and raise awareness, but I think we have quite a way to go for acceptance beyond, for full acceptance. So yeah.
The film is so beautifully shot, the cinematography, the scenes. How did you fund this? Where do you get the funding to make a film like this there?
So it is actually self-funded, this entire film.
You funded it?
Yes. Thank you for the question. So I worked for a year and a half. I saved money and I put it in making my movies. That's how I do, because films like this will be very difficult to get made the way I want to. And I don't want to make any compromises on my vision, the way I'm telling the story. So I worked for a year, I saved money, and I'm very blessed to have a great cast and crew who have always supported me. Many of these actors you see, not all, but some are very regular in my films. So they all do theatre, they all do plays there. And many of the technical collaborators are also regular, like my sound designers, Anindi Tadib, editor Amir. I worked with a new DP, by the way, Shayan, who shot this, because I wanted the spaces to be lit in a certain way, the light and shadow play. And Shayan is really good at that, so I had to go for him, and he was very kind enough to come on board, and that's how, films like this is, I say that it's not actually, it's not a low budget film, I call it a love budget film. So that's the way to put it, basically. So that's only how these films can be made.
Just a few more questions. I'm going to move where I can see it again. Yes, right back there.
So where did you film this specifically and why?
So where did you film this specifically? I think the why question has been answered many times, but where did you film this specifically?
So this film was shot...
Or did you mean why did he film it? Where he filmed it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a different question. Yes.
So this film was shot in my hometown. Actually, it's a little, it's Howrah, where I come from. It's an adjacent district to Kolkata. And these are also places of some of my, relatives and places I have grown up in, kind of. So that's how the location. So I know these places by heart, and these kind of spaces have not been shot in or not been seen in movies that come from Bengal. So I wanted these cramped up spaces, and also this was shot in my hometown. So that's why I say that it's a very personal film, not only because of the incidents, but also how I shot it and how, the spaces I choose to shoot, because I have very close connections with those spaces. So, yeah.
Yeah, the beginning of the film had two very interesting scenes. One is them on the horse and the carriage coming down the road, and then later she's watching some men by the water, and something is happening there where one of them starts kind of crying about something. Can you tell us about those?
So actually the horse carriage scene was one of the first images that came to my mind, while even before doing anything. It was like an image that came in my dream, I can say, two women holding hands going on a horse carriage. And these horse carriages are found in a place called, it's a park, it's a monument museum called Victoria Memorial, which is situated in Kolkata, one of a must-see place. So it was like we, in childhood or even now, people take trips there on weekends or, whenever they have free time. And they have this horse carriage rides, like we have in Central Park, that's that kind of horse carriage that's there. You just ride and they take you a few blocks and you come back. So I was always fascinated that this felt like straight out of a fairy tale. And in this film, actually, I also pay homage to a lot of short story writers I grew up reading, Bengali short story writers, fiction writers. So that image is very, is kind of nostalgic for me. And we shot this film just a little before, Independence Day, and during our Independence Day we have parades, and on that particular day there was some rehearsal going on. So we couldn't get any of the carriages there, and so I thought that, okay, we are done. I mean, we cannot get that shot. But just like, like a film about love and hope, and we saw that carriage is just coming out of corner from nowhere. And so that's how the horse carriage scene was filmed. It was one of the first images that came to him, and I knew that I had to put it in. And the water scene is actually, so Kolkata is situated by Ganges River, and it was like, it's a place along which many crematoriums are there. So the image that you saw, the boy kind of floating that little vessel, it's basically, it is a ritual, Hindu ritual. That is after, you cremate your parents or whoever it is, the son, floats the remains of the body on the Ganges River because it is considered holy. So it's like taking the remains of the dead will go to heaven or across that river. So it's like a very traditional, very Hindu ritual. So that's the depiction of that, because they're talking about their breaking of relationship, and I thought the place where crematoriums are there kind of creates a little bit of a meaning to that entire thing. So that's why that scene happened, and it was not in the script. It was during the Reiki. When I went to see the location, I saw this similar thing happening. I thought this will make a very interesting way to recreate that. So that's how it kind of happened. Yeah.
Let's take one last question. Yes, right there.
The music choice was typical Bengali, very mournful, I'm Bengali myself, heritage. So I'm wondering how you chose it.
Tell us about the music. How did you choose it?
Yeah, thank you so much. By the way, the music will release on all music streaming platforms on 29th of July. So that's the thing. And it's composed by Navarun Bose, who is a very well-known composer in our city, from our city, and he has done music for quite a few well-known Bengali films there, and some, I think, non-Hindi films also. So it was my first collaboration with him, and I wanted to work with him for a long time, because he has this, his understanding of music, his understanding, the way he creates drama through his music, I was fascinated by. So when I reached out with him with the script, he sent me a music piece of Mark Knopfler, and I knew that it connected, because the piece he sent me was like exactly what the thing I had in mind, kind of. And I made sure that I told him that we'll only use Indian instruments, only Indian instruments, no Western instruments at all, because to underline that space and time. So that's basically worked on the music. I think we didn't have to do a lot of back and forth, because he understood what I wanted. And actually I also told him to score a couple of 10 seconds here and there, but he said that let it remain silent. So he understands that the success of the music lies in the silence of it, absence of it also. So I think it was a very, very interesting collaboration and very memorable one, because we were both on the same page, and I think the music becomes, for me, eventually became a character also in the movie. So yeah, that's pretty much I can say. Yeah. I hope that answered your question.
When we got this film, and we do submissions from December 1 to May 1. We got this film on December 1.
Yeah.
And he told me that he finished the film November
29th.
29th and submitted it to us right away. It was sitting on my computer this whole time. And I saw it pretty early on, and I passed it on to Alan. And Alan, for the shorts, Alan usually says, "Oh, you tell me, where you think things should go. We'll talk about it." Not this time. Alan said this is the closing night short, almost immediately. That's just how it is.
No, I mean, exactly. I was just waiting.